coverage you can count on. KOMU 8 News starts now.
The White House has announced it will not extend waivers and begin to punish countries buying oil from Iran with the goal of reducing the country's crude oil exports to zero, and that decision could hit your wallet. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Emily Spain.
And I'm Jim Rick. Thanks for joining us. There's concern the administration's move could affect gas prices, which are already climbing. This comes almost a year after the U.S. dropped out of the Iran nuclear deal. The White House hopes to force Iranian leaders to negotiate a new deal that would cover both nuclear activities and Iran's ballistic missile program. U.S. leaders say they want to keep the market stable by working with other oil-producing nations.
Both the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates have assured us they will ensure an appropriate supply for the markets.
Experts warn tightening the world supply of crude oil could drive gas prices to $3 a gallon or higher.
A Moberly man tried to shoot his girlfriend this weekend as she tried to enter their home. Because of that, he was ordered not to return to their house when he got out of jail, but he did anyways. KOMU 8's Kasha Karaj spent the day in Moberly and has more on how this could have happened.
25-year-old Jared Satterfield told police he felt his girlfriend, quote, no longer had a legal right to the property. Now, we saw on her Facebook page that a lot of people were confused as to how he was able to go back to his house after police said he tried to shoot his girlfriend. I spoke with Randolph County prosecuting attorney about the laws and violations that go into owning property with someone else.
On a small Missouri street, Charlotte Walbold has always felt safe in her Moberly home.
We like our neighborhood. We get along with all of our neighbors.
She couldn't believe one of her neighbors tried to shoot his girlfriend.
Oh my gosh, I was like shocked.
Jared Satterfield was ordered a no-contact order.
They are not to have any contact with a specific person. Most generally, it's a victim.
He returned to the home he shared with his girlfriend, and she was home at the time.
It's very difficult to completely control what another person is or isn't going to do.
We didn't know what to think, really.
Police say the woman called 911. Officers returned and arrested Satterfield for violating his bond.
In one respect, a much higher bond or perhaps a cash-only bond where they couldn't go through a bondsman to try to make it more difficult for them to bond to ensure safety.
Although he shared the house with his girlfriend, he was not allowed back to his home because of the protection order.
The person that is prevented from having contact may be also prevented from going back to their residence.
Satterfield now has a $45,000 cash-only bond, and because he violated the protection order and went home, his bond is now cash-only. In the studio, Kasha Karaj, KOMU 8 News.
The man accused in the 2017 death of Leon Wilder of Audrain County pleaded guilty today. Richard Henry faced voluntary manslaughter. The other charges against him were dropped. He faces up to 26 years in prison. Court documents say Henry and another man kidnapped Wilder after an argument. Investigators found blood in Henry's truck.
CPD arrested a man last night after a shots fired call on Boyd Lane in Columbia. Officers arrested Justin Michael Thomas Jones. Prosecutors charged him with using an illegal weapon while intoxicated. Officers found shell casings at the scene. After searching a house, investigators found a weapon that matched the casing.
We started the day with a lot of sunshine across the region. Temperatures warmed up very quickly, starting in the lower 60s, eventually warming into the upper 70s, a high of 79 degrees. But we hit that high around midday. Then cloud cover moved into the region, and now we're watching this cold front. This cold front will move through the area this evening, and we may see a few sprinkles associated with this, but overall the air is very dry, so we're not going to see much. Winds will start to shift as this front moves through. Shifting out of the north, allowing cooler air to filter in for tomorrow. Here's your evening planner. Temperatures near 72 at 7, 69 at 9 o'clock, and 64 at 11 with a lot of cloud cover. Temperatures out the door tomorrow morning in the lower 50s. It's a cooler day tomorrow, but certainly not a cold day. I'm tracking it hour by hour. Coming up in my full forecast in just a little bit.
Okay, Matt, thank you very much. New census data shows nearly half the counties in Missouri have shrunk in population. Callaway, Cooper, and Randolph counties are among the 52 that are losing people. KOMU 8's Diana Fedorova is here to tell us why people might be moving.
The latest census data shows Missouri's population as a whole increased last year. 52 of the 114 counties lost residents. Cuyahoga County lost 40 people. Callaway County lost 55 people. Boone County, on the contrary, saw its population increase by nearly 1,500. The Boone County presiding commissioner says it has seen growth for decades. In 1970, the population of Boone County was 80,000, and now it is 180,000. Dan Atwill says residents leave counties because they expect to see certain services and entertainment, and they don't.
Boone County has traditionally been strong in the area of health care, education, insurance, and some other things. And now we are seeing a growth of other types of industry in this area.
Commissioner Atwill says he fully expects Boone County to continue its growth. In the studio, Diana Fedarova, KOMU 8 News.
More than 80 people can now call themselves American citizens. A naturalization ceremony was held in Jefferson City today. KOMU 8's Kamaria Bray was at the ceremony and is here to tell us about the citizenship process.
Today, people from around 30 countries took that final step to becoming a U.S. citizen and celebrated their new form of freedom.
Bless America, my home, sweet home.
Home. The word that has a new meaning for these people who now proudly call the U.S. home.
Well, I just became a citizen, so I'm excited. Can't wait to go to the car, call my mom, let her know, because she's not a citizen yet.
Tyreek Dixon came to the U.S. from Jamaica when he was 14.
Even though the process might be long and hard, it's worth it, because now you're free and can do whatever.
The citizenship process can take years for some people.
I just know it is a long process, and they work really hard, to get to today. They have to pass a test that probably the majority of us who are born, and raised in the United States probably can't even pass the test.
The test makes immigrants learn 100 American history questions. They only are asked 10 of those questions and have to get 6 of them right. The questions range from constitutional amendments to geography.
I don't know. I mean, it's good to know your history or to know the country's history, but for Americans that you don't even know their own history. Because I be asking some of my friends at work, and they're like, man, I don't know this. Why do I need to know this? And I'm like, well, it's your country. You live here.
The country's history now engraved in minds of these new U.S. citizens. The next naturalization ceremony is on May 15th in Kansas City. In the newsroom, I'm Kamaria Bray, KOMU 8 News.
A new report shows many Americans could see their Social Security benefits cut after retiring. Trustees of Social Security and Medicare released their annual report today. It shows the combined trust funds for the government's 2 largest entitlement programs will be tapped out by the year 2035. The trustees say Congress will need to find a new policy to ensure the future of both programs.
Here's what's happening right now. According to an FBI agent, a leader of a militia claims his group was planning assassinations. Larry Mitchell Hopkins is described as the leader of the United Constitutional Patriots. The militia has been detaining families at the border, trying to stop them from crossing into the U.S. Hopkins allegedly said that he was training to assassinate people like Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama. Hopkins faces a maximum 10-year sentence if convicted.
290 people are dead after a series of deadly suicide bombings Easter Sunday in Sri Lanka. At least 4 Americans died. NBC's Janice Freyer has the latest.
The government has imposed a state of emergency here to try to get a handle on public security. There is a dusk to dawn curfew that is in effect for a second night. As the FBI is on the ground and Interpol has joined the investigation. They're trying to sift through the evidence to find clues about who might be behind this. The government has cited a little-known domestic group called National Tawhid Jamaat. It's known to have extremist ideology, but authorities are convinced they must have had outside help, an international terrorist network. The group has not carried out attacks in the past. And what has stunned authorities here is how coordinated the bombings were, ripping through 3 churches and 3 hotels at virtually the same time. What is also troubling is the admission by security officials that they were warned 10 days ago about the potential for attacks on churches.
Why weren't the churches protected if you had a warning?
Well,
how many churches to be protected, but we informed that there is we never expected an attack of this magnitude.
The death toll is now hovering near 300. More than 500 people are injured. 39 of the dead are foreigners, including 4 Americans. Janice Mackey-Frere, NBC News, Colombo.
Sri Lanka's government admits it had advanced warning of possible attacks.
The Mueller report released redacted in red. After the break, we tell you about a new reaction.
Plus, the Supreme Court hearing civil cases, how LGBT issues fit in federal law.
And looking at our weather headlines as we go through the evening, that cold front's going to move through the area, shifting our winds and allowing cooler air to filter in for Tuesday. Tracking a lot of cloud cover for that as well. Full details coming up a little bit later.
And you're taking a live look over Jefferson City. Your time is 5:09. This is KOMU 8 News First at 5 coverage you can count on.
Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell says it's time to move on as House Democrats consider impeachment proceedings against President Trump. McConnell told reporters the Mueller report should be the final word in the matter, and he thinks the public has had quite enough of the investigation. Speaker Nancy Pelosi led a conference call of House Democrats this afternoon to discuss the next steps.
I think the Speaker has actually been discouraging talk of impeachment, but that's really up to the House. If they want to do that, they can. I think the American people would like to move on from this. I think they've learned quite enough about it.
Senator and presidential candidate Elizabeth Warren Saturday called for the House to impeach the president.
Former Army intelligence analyst Chelsea Manning lost her appeal to be released from jail. She lost the appeal because she refused to testify to the grand jury investigating WikiLeaks. Manning's argument that she was wrongfully found in civil contempt and her requests for bail were rejected. Manning served 7 years in a military prison for leaking documents to WikiLeaks.
A cold front's moving through the region. We could see a few sprinkles, but overall not much. I'll explain why we won't see much rain coming up in just a few minutes.
Welcome back. The U.S. Supreme Court announced today we'll hear cases of those who claim they were fired because of their sexual orientation. The court will have to decide whether the main federal civil rights law, which prohibits employment discrimination, applies to LGBT people. Another case involves a funeral home employee who was fired after disclosing she was transitioning from male to female and dressed as a woman. The cases will be argued later this year, with decisions likely by June 2020.
Australian divers who rescued the boys' soccer team were back in Thailand today for a reunion and to visit the cave. They greeted the boys and toured the cave museum, which has photos from the rescue. The effort in the flooded cave lasted 17 days. The main rescue team included 13 foreign divers and 5 Thailand Navy divers.
Since we left, we had to rush off in a bit of a hurry after the rescue last year, and we've been looking forward all this time to getting back and having a look at what the cave actually looks like.
The soccer team ranged in age from 11 to 16. They became trapped by flooding while exploring the cave.
All right, 5:17 is your time. Let's take a live look over mid-Missouri in the Rocheport area. A lot of cloud cover out there, but that's not necessarily what we saw earlier today. We started the day with a lot of sunshine. Temperatures warmed into the upper 70s, and then we cooled off when that cloud cover rolled in. 76 degrees in Columbia with that southerly wind. You can see across northwest Missouri, though, that wind starting to change directions. 55 up in Lincoln. That's where that cold front has already passed and cooler air is filtering in. Winds currently at 20 miles per hour in Columbia, out of the west and southwest across mid-Missouri. That cold front just off to our northwest, that's going to move through as we head into the evening hours. We're starting to see that cloud cover as well. We've really seen it for the last several hours, and now it is going to continue. Notice that there's not any rain showing up on our satellite and radar, at least here in central Missouri. That's because the atmosphere is really dry. Relative humidity values around 50% for many of us, 56% in Columbia, 50% in Jefferson City, and 61% in Boonville. This is the amount of water vapor the atmosphere is holding compared to how much it could hold. And these numbers need to be around 80 to 90% in order for us to see rainfall. So we may see a few sprinkles, but overall nothing impressive impressive through the evening hours. Most of us stay mainly dry. Here's precipcast showing you that cold front moving through the area, temperatures falling off behind it, and we'll see a little bit of clearing, but I think for the most part we'll see mostly cloudy skies. This pushes off to the south, moving through the area between 7 and 10 o'clock tonight. And then as we head into early Tuesday morning, it'll be exiting our southeastern counties. Again, a few sprinkles possible. Temperatures falling into the lower 50s for tomorrow morning. Then as we head into the afternoon, the cloud cover is going to stick with us. Eventually, we're into the upper 50s and lower 60s around midday, and into the afternoon, we warm into those middle 60s. That's a little below average for this time of the year, but overall, fairly seasonal. Average is 68 degrees. We're at 65 for our Tuesday. A 20% chance of a few sprinkles. It's a mainly dry and mainly cloudy day. For Wednesday and Thursday, we are back on a warming trend in the lower to middle 70s. Rain chances on the decrease as a system, this cold front that's stalled out across southeast Missouri, gets out of here. For Friday and Saturday, we are going to be warming up as another system moves in, and we'll see some chances of showers and thunderstorms associated with that. Here's precipcast as we head into Tuesday evening. 6:30 here, you can see a few rain showers possible for our southern counties. The cloud cover really staying with those folks as well. A mix of sunshine and cloud cover through our Wednesday, and again, rain really hugs the I-44 corridor. So if you live down towards the Lake of the Ozarks, your chances of rain are going to be higher as we go through Tuesday and Wednesday. This continues to move off to the north and east, but again, it's a mainly dry time with mainly cloudy skies for you folks. The further north you live, the more sunshine you're going to be seeing. In terms of your allergy report, well, those numbers are going to remain high with that tree pollen. Your forecast for tonight looks like this. Temperatures falling into the 50s with winds out of the northwest at 7 to 15 miles per hour. We're in the middle 60s for tomorrow with mostly cloudy skies. That northerly wind really pumping in that cooler air. By Wednesday, 70 degrees. Thursday, 75. Partly sunny skies. Then the sunshine returns for Friday. We're back into the lower 70s before chances of showers and thunderstorms return into next week.
Okay, thanks, Matt. The day-to-day job of first responders can be stressful. One center is trying to make a therapeutic change. Welcome back. In your health news, first responders are faced with a lot of stress that the general public sometimes overlooks. A wellness center in Vermont is providing first responders with trauma support and mental health resources. Police officers use the services to better serve their communities by paying attention to their mental health. One therapist at the center says twice as many officers die from suicide than being killed. Even more cases of measles have been reported. New CDC data shows there are now 626 confirmed cases of measles in 22 states. Most of the new reports have come from New York. Agencies are predicting that in the coming months, the numbers will surpass those of 2014, a year where 667 cases were reported.
Our final story is not about a visually impaired seeing eye dog, but it's close.
Now here's a look we're following for KOMU8 News at 6 o'clock. Some residents left in the dark Friday night wondering when their lights would come back on.
Why so many customers lost power? That's coming up at 6. Matt.
A cold front will move through the area this evening. We're not going to see much out of it, maybe a few showers, but for the most part, it's mainly dry. Temperatures staying in the 70s, eventually falling into the 60s for the evening hours. The lower 50s to start our day tomorrow. Mostly cloudy skies through the day. By midday, we warm into the upper 50s, and then we're in the middle 60s by the afternoon.
Well, it's not that unusual to see guide dogs, but how about this one? A guide horse, the first in Britain. Digby, him and his trainer boarded a train, and he met his owner-to-be, Helen.
Don't see that every day.